Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing a movie review on Quantum of Solace. Now before I do that, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe and click that notification bell. It really helps you the algorithm. Quantum of Solace, this is the second movie in the Daniel Craig James Bond trilogy. And it was released in 2008. And it stars Daniel Craig reprising his role as 007 and Judi Dench as M and David Harbour. And yeah, so the plot of Quantum of Solace is about James Bond has to try and stop a villain. Yeah, and that's basically the main plot of this film. I know that may not be the best summarization of the plot, but it's the best way I can describe the plot because the it's a difficult one to summarize. And yeah. So going into Quantum of Solace, as you know, I wasn't a big fan of Casino Royale. I liked it; it was a fun film, but it just was very boring in my opinion. Yeah. So Quantum of Solace. Um, yeah, I watched this movie to see if it would be any better than Casino Royale. Yeah, and basically I watched the movie. Yeah, what do I think of this movie? To be honest, guys, I really didn't like this movie. I thought it was even worse than Casino Royale. Yeah, now, I'm not doing a rant on this movie, is because I don't feel like doing a rant on it today. Yeah, I just feel like doing a movie review on it. Yeah. So, Who Boy, I do not like this movie at all. I think it's easily the worst movie in the trilogy. Yep, I just really do not like this movie. Yeah, I think it's a bad movie. Yeah. The storyline is incredibly weak. It's very boring and it's not very interesting at all. Yeah. And yeah, it's also very confusing as well. Yeah, I found it very confusing. Yeah. and yeah, the pacing is definitely a big problem in this movie. The pacing of the movie really kills the movie. It's so slow. Like the movie just drags and drags and drags, and yeah, the pacing is definitely a big problem in this movie. Yep, it's very slow in areas. Yeah, and it kills it. And and yeah, and the characters in the movie aren't the characters in the movie are very poor as well. Yeah, I'll give credit. James Bond is still an entertaining character. I like him, and but M in this movie, M was just so poor. Like she wasn't very interesting at all. This movie. Same with David Harbour's character. I thought he was so boring and not very interesting at all. Yep. And um 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 and the acting in this movie isn't great either. Daniel Craig does a good job, but Judi Dench and David Harbour their acting was so weak. Like it wasn't very good. Yeah, and all the other acting wasn't very good either. Yeah. I might say the villain of the movie was incredibly poor. He was not interesting at all. I found him to be a very weak villain. Yep, he was so bland and boring. Yep, and he's not very interesting. Yep. He's a very weak villain. I really don't like him. Yeah, he's very poor. Yeah. The villain isn't very good. And 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 yeah, I'll give credit. The scenery is pretty fantastic. Yeah, there's some shots in the cinematography and some locations that look absolutely gorgeous and stunning. Yeah, I'll give credit. That's pretty fantastic. Um, Yeah, I was entertained by that. Yeah, yeah, and um, and yeah, I'll give credit. The music in the movie is pretty damn catchy. Yeah, the opening song is quite catchy. I'll give it that. Yep, and the opening scene is quite cool as well. Yeah, like this movie started off good, but then it just went shit. Yeah. And this movie doesn't even feel like a James Bond movie. It feels more like I'm watching a drama, not a James Bond movie. Yeah, it feels more like a drama than a James Bond movie. Yeah, the reason being is because there's barely any action in this movie. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, yeah, that's why it feels more like a drama than a James Bond movie. Yeah, because there's barely any action in it. Yeah, and and and. and I'll give credit. There are some good action scenes. There, I'll give credit. There are some good action scenes in this movie that I like. Yeah, but I'll tell you guys, there is one action scene where James Bond and his fiance are caught in a fire, and and they're surviving in the fire. Like when me and my mom saw that scene, we just thought it was so far fetched. I thought it was so far fetched, in my opinion. That scene where him and his fiance survive in the fire, they're in it. I thought that me and my mom and I thought that was so far fetched, in my opinion. Yeah, it was just such a far fetched action scene. I really didn't like it. Yeah, like if I was in that fire, I wouldn't survive. Yeah, but they did. Like it was weird. Like it was so far fetched. Like yeah, the scene where him and his fiance are caught in the fire and they survived. They're in the fire, but it was so far fetched. Like yeah, me and my mom just thought it was so far fetched. In my opinion. Yeah, yeah. Like, and who else would survive in that fire? Like, it's just crazy to think that they survived in that fire. But it was just very far fetched. I did not like it at all. Yep, I found it to be very far fetched. Yeah, yeah, that was one of the worst action scenes I've ever seen. Yeah, so far fetched. Yeah, scene where him and his fiance caught on fire. Yeah, and so far fetched. Yeah, and but there are some good action scenes in the movie in the movie that I like. Yep, saying there's some good stunts in the movie that I like as well. Yep, and 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 I just thought this movie was so boring. Yeah, and and I'll give credit. The love interest with his fiance is pretty sweet. Yep. I also found his fiance to be very weak as well. She was very poor. Yeah, she wasn't very interesting at all. Yep. She was very weak. Yeah. But I will give it credit. His love interest with his fiance is pretty sweet. Yep. And 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 this movie I was confused and I found it very hard to follow as well. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Yep. I really wanted to like this movie, but I just couldn't. And overall, Quantum of Solace is not a good movie, and it's even worse than the first one, and it's easily the worst movie in the trilogy. Yeah, it has a very confusing story that can go very far fetched. With its action. Um, 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 the characters are very poor and weak. The acting isn't very good. Um, but I'll give credit. The action, the stunts, and the scenery is pretty fantastic. Yeah. So overall, this is not a good movie, and I'm definitely not watching it again. Yeah. So overall, I'm gonna give Quantum of Solace a mediocre rating of a 5 out of 10. Yep. It's a very mediocre movie. I really don't like it. Yeah. Storyline's very boring. Yeah. Not interesting. Yeah. So that's basically my review of Quantum of Solace. Hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for my next movie review, which is going to be tomorrow. And it's going to be a movie review on the third movie in the trilogy, Skyfall. So stay tuned for that. That'll be tomorrow. Yeah, I have good things to say about that. Yep. But until then, guys, take care. Take care. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you all are having a lovely Halloween break. Yeah. And thank you for watching my video. And I'll see you in my next video. And goodbye. Peace.